Just a short time ago, we spoke to the former weapons inspector Hans Blix, who told Newsnight that any inspection, any reliable inspection by weapons inspectors under these circumstances in Syria would be more or less impossible. Joining us now here in Beirut is the political analyst Carol Malouf. Okay, first off, it's now become a diplomatic rather than an imminent military threat. How's that playing here?
It plays very well within the Syrian regime because we know that the Syrian regime always relies on the element of time. We've seen that with the Hariri assassination, we've seen that along the history, the 4 decades of the regime. So whenever they are able to buy time for them to move forward with whatever agenda they have, works well for them. So I think shifting it from a military operation to a diplomatic operation or diplomatic solution, if you want, works perfectly for the regime.
Does it shift, as it were, the balance of power?
It gives them more time. You see, I always picture the Syrian regime as playing poker. So they always have these, when you play poker, you have different cards to play with, and you always bluff. So if you put, the different cards that they hold with the bluffing, it gives you a clear idea of what the regime has always been doing and what it's trying to do.
It hasn't brought an end to the war any nearer.
No, and unfortunately it won't.
What effect is the war having on the region as a whole? I mean, this is a horrible thing to see, even from as far, we're 2,000 miles away, and it looks horrible even from there. But this close, what effect is it having? It's
been spilling over, especially to Lebanon, on different fronts. First with the refugees. If we're talking about Lebanon, because we're in Lebanon now, so the refugees. Lebanon is a small country with very limited resources. It has also blocked our only land border with Syria, because we're close on the Israeli side, so we're kind of landlocked now with what's happening. It has spilled over in terms of tension between the pro-Syrian camp and the anti-Syrian camp on the political level, with Hezbollah's involvement in Syria. So Lebanon has been affected with the latest bombing between, in Sunni suburbs and in Shia suburbs. So it's been adding up to the increased tension in the country.
And looking broader than Lebanon, in the area as a whole, you've got all these other countries, whether they be Iraq or Jordan or further afield. What effect is it having there?
If you look at it on an international level, it's more of we're back kind of to the Cold War, Russia supporting one side against the Americans on the other side. Then if you take it to the regional level, it's Iran, Syria, part of the Iraqi regime with Maliki and Hezbollah on one side, with the Gulf states and the pro-US allies on the other. So the rift between the pro-US camp and the Iranian camp, it's widening, and it's creating tension along sectarian lines in all the neighboring countries.
Does it feel more dangerous to you?
It is dangerous, but we're still in a place where we could manage the crisis. It's not yet totally out of control. If the international community assumes its responsibility in dealing with the regime properly in Syria and really trying to push for whether a diplomatic resolution or a military intervention, because we know that after a military intervention they were supposed to go to the Geneva II Convention. With all these elements on the table, they might reach a diplomatic solution, a political solution as we call it, but still the international community has to push more towards that direction. We're at 110,000 deaths. That's beside the detained and the tortured and the missing. So it's really growing in numbers.
Carol Malouf, thank you. Well, I'll be reporting later this week from some of the refugee camps here in Lebanon. But for now, back to you in London, Emily.